So, what do you think the Browns need to do to kind of unlock Watson? First of all, he's got to stay healthy. I realize that. But what do you think they need to do to get him to the quarterback they thought he was when they acquired him?
I really do think that it's nothing more than staying on the field. I mean, it was such a small sample size, but I've said it before. That third game, I thought he had turned the corner against the Titans. He looked good to me. And as it turned out, the Titans didn't have the greatest team, but he played well in that game. He threw for 289 yards and two touchdowns. He really should have had over 329 yards and three touchdowns. They blew a whistle inadvertently, took away a touchdown and a 40-yard pass to Mari Cooper. But with that said, then we know he had the injury. He had to start and stop over the next month. Then it's hard to even gauge other than result. When you find out in that second half of the Ravens game, he was 14 of 14, led him in a comeback win over the Ravens on the road with a high ankle sprain and a broken bone in his throwing shoulder. I don't know what more you could expect from him. So I think if he'd have been healthy and played the rest of the year, I think he would have just got better and better. But with that said, I think they need to look at what he did with Houston. I'm sure they have, but what I remember when the Browns played them, I always remember him throwing the bomb to Will Fuller or some speedy receiver, DeAndre Hopkins. They were getting behind the Browns' backs, which wasn't hard to do back then, but it just seemed like when he stretched the field deep, good things happened, and then he could, run and do the things he does. I just think that last year when he was playing, they didn't have that deep threat. Marquise Goodwin just never was on the field at the same time, and they didn't use Elijah Moore in that fashion on the deep ball. We know Cooper can go deep, but he's not the burner, and we saw it with Joe Flacco. And I keep contending, okay, that this is no slight on Flacco, but anything that Flacco could have done, Deshaun Watson can do. He's got every bit of the arm Flacco does at 39, and he's got more mobility. If anything, he's just got to harness that and not put himself in harm's way. I mean, he plays the way he plays, but he has really been able to get away with it and not had major injuries to his shoulder like he did this year. So I just think, if anything, he's got to stay on the field. But one of the reasons I think they made this change from Van Pelt to Dorsey is to marry kind of what we saw with Flacco with Watson, kind of put him in there and put him in position like he did with Josh Allen and like he did with Cam Newton, and use that skill set because that's what attracted the Browns to him. He isn't a pure pocket passer, so use that element to your advantage. So I don't know if there's what the magic formula is, but I think that's why you brought in outside offensive voices, Deuce Staley, Tommy Rees, and of course Ken Dorsey, to look at it from a different angle from what they had looked at for the first 2 years Watson was here. I think they like Alex Van Pelt, but he had kind of shot whatever his views or his analysis or his input would be. You needed a fresh voice. You needed somebody from the outside, to run that off of Kevin Stefanski and try to put what Stefanski wants to do together with Dorsey and the other guys.